Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's Stories of Yanko back here with another video. And I always do this, man. Like, I always say, I've been here, I've been there. And honestly, it's been amazing. I finally quit my terrible job. I got a year of experience in, and I'm on to better things. And I just been living life. I've been dating. I've been riding motorcycles. I got a new bike, the Yamaha R9. If you guys are into motorcycles and, you guys want me to infuse motor vlogs along with the sports stuff, I'm down to do that. I'm gonna try it out and just see, how y'all receive it. And hey, it's gonna be a blast. But I've also been boxing. I've been in training for boxing. I'm probably gonna start my amateur career next year, but or later this year, just depending on how I progress. I'm pretty decent at it. I'm getting way better, right? But we're talking about the NBA today, and I can just completely slam this guy. And I understand I'm going to get a lot of negative backlash, hatred, hate comments, fanboys. I know that's what I'm going to get because I got it before, right? Everything I'm about to say in this video is only related to what he has done. I am not here to drag Jayson Tatum down in the darkest moment of his career. That has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. Because honestly, if he never stepped foot on the court ever again, Jayson Tatum is a first ballot Hall of Famer. NBA champion, broke many of the Celtics records, multiple conference finals appearance, 2 finals appearances. Like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? But, oh yeah, also multiple time All-Star, All-NBA. That's amazing, right? But I was right about Jayson Tatum. I'm not talking about his injury. I'm talking about who he is as a player. I've always said that Jaylen Brown was a better player, in the playoffs and the bigger moments, because honestly and truthfully, if they never went down in that series based on Tatum's play, even if he did get injured, the Celtics probably could have came back, right? He could have still had the same injury, but if he would have stepped up his play in the first couple of games, especially when they had home court advantage, right? Then they would have never been in that position to begin with. Yes, he had one good game. Well, he had 2 good games, right? That when they were up 2-0, he came back, he had a good game, right? And then the next game, he had a better game, right? But he went down with injury. But they still were down in the series, is my point. And I don't want you guys getting upset. Oh my God, the guy just got injured. I am not fake. I've always kept it real on the channel. I've always given you guys authentic audio, authentic takes. I'm not here to pretend like I like the guy. I don't think Jayson Tatum is a bad person at all. The issue with Jayson Tatum, just as a brand, is that most of these guys, especially like him, you've been told that you're going to be a superstar in the NBA. It becomes this whole brand. His whole personality is to be an NBA star. He's not a superstar, just an NBA star, right? To the point that he doesn't have any authenticity, right? And people's point out that he steals moments and he's corny, he's this and he's that. That's because these guys never really get a chance to be themselves. Ant is the only guy that I see being himself. Of course, Brunson, Tyrese, like Shea, all these guys get to be themselves, but it seems like Tatum doesn't get to be himself. If you guys, get what I'm saying, right? It's like he's so focused on trying to be the face or this perfect image to the point that he doesn't really get to show how great of a guy he is, his whole personality. I mean, he pulled LMA, goddamn. You feel me? I should hate him for that. I should hate him for that because that's worth hatred, if I'm being honest. But I'm talking about him as an NBA player. The guy, he's had a very underwhelming career as a number 1 option. And honestly, he's not a number 1 option, and that's fine. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. The Celtics really don't have a true number 1 option. They have been an elite team ever since he has gotten into the NBA. They've gone through many changes. They've gone through different trades, but the consistent two have been him and Brown. Him and Brown. They brought in Drew Holiday. They brought in Derek White, Porzingis, you know? And Derek White, man, that guy there, like, probably the best role player in the NBA. I'm not going to lie. But he has been an elite player. I'm talking about Jayson Tatum. But when you stack him up against the rest of the elite players in the NBA, he falls short. He falls very, very short. And I saw all the takes that were coming out in those first couple of games. People were talking about, man, this is why Kerr sat him out in the Olympics. Everybody were like, we were like getting our takes off. I didn't say anything. I was actually surprised. I'm like, wow. Everybody was getting off their takes. Everybody was saying all the things that I've been saying for years. For years. You can go to my Twitter. Put in my Twitter handle and just type in Tatum, and everything that I've been saying about him in these videos, I've been saying for years. Everybody else was just late. And I feel sorry for the guy because of his injuries, because, you know, he may not be the same, but it doesn't really matter. The guy's getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars on and off the court. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And it's like he has nothing left to prove to me, because what they made him out to be to begin with, I never believed in. And now everybody has to temper their expectations for him when he comes back, because he's definitely not coming back next season. We're not going to see him in probably until 2027, you know, like maybe early mid 2027 season, right? And this guy, he's probably a great person, and I feel bad for him, bro. And yeah, we're going to talk about Damian Lillard too in another video, but I wish Tatum a speedy recovery, and I hope that he is able to make it back to being the same player. And who knows? I'm not going to say that this was a great thing at all. It's terrible. But we saw how KD bounced back. This might force him into adapting his style to more like KD's. You know, like Tatum really didn't use his size like that anyway. So you may see him posting up a little bit more and, you know, fades. Like you might see more of that. He already had that in his game, but you may see way more of that. Less drives. Who knows? We don't know what he's going to come back as. I'm just keeping it real. But I wanted you guys to understand that everything that I've said about Tatum was true. Everything. You guys were wrong. You niggas were wrong, loud and wrong, disrespectful and wrong. I have been right the whole time about where his placement was in the NBA, where he ranked in the NBA. I have always been right. Always been right. Go back and look at the takes those first two games. Everybody has been saying what I've been saying for the longest. We're not going to come back and act like people weren't dumping on the guy and blaming him for why they were down in the series just because he got injured. That's fake. That's fake love. See, me, I'm not talking about his injury like, oh man, I'm glad that happened to him. No, that's terrible. But I'm not just going to mask over and act like I wasn't right about the guy from the start when he was playing on the court. Yeah, he had a good game and a half. But what was he the other games? You know, that's the point. That's the point. We can't talk about one part without telling the whole story, right? And this, you know, the series before then, hey, those guys, they were still carrying Tatum. I'm being real. Those guys were still carrying Tatum. The series before that. Like, what are we doing here? I'm not going to sit up here and lie. This guy has been carried his whole career. He has. He has been carried his whole career. And it's like, I'm just keeping it real. You guys can come down on me. You guys can say whatever. What can you say? What can you say? I'm just speaking facts. I have always kept it real about how I felt about Jayson Tatum as an NBA player, not a person, not a dad, not a husband. Well, he's not a husband, not a boyfriend. I have not ever attacked this person as a human being, you know? So when you fanboys are getting upset, you can go back to my old videos. You niggas were loud and wrong. Loud and wrong. I have always been right. Do not ever bet against me. I've been right about everything. Everything. The Milwaukee Bucks. Jayson Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, Luka. I have been right about everything. When are you niggas going to learn? I have been right. I know ball. You niggas don't. So, with that being said, I know you guys are going to get upset. It doesn't matter. You guys don't change anything on this channel. You know, I'm just keeping it real. I'm going to be uploading a lot of videos that's going to make people mad. But, hey, man, it is what it is. Peace.